everyday heroes who have fought to continue the fight for justice, equality, and liberation. Not only will he educate and inform, but also empowers listeners to become active participants in the ongoing fight for justice. Every night at 11 Eastern on the GCPR network.
Yeah, you gotta hear that. He just gotta hear that. Yeah.
Conversations with TNathan delves into the stories of activists, scholars, and everyday heroes who have fought to continue the fight for justice, equality, and liberation. Not only will he educate and inform, but also empowers listeners to become active participants in the ongoing fight for justice. Every night at 11 Eastern on the GCPR network.
And here we are. Here we are. Here we are. You heard it. You heard it. You know it. You know it when you see it. You know it when you see it. Yes. That is it. That is it. Greetings and salutations. Welcome. Welcome. What is up? What is up, true believers? It is your guy, T. Nathan. It is 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. Don't listen to Jay. He don't know what he's talking about. I am on time. As always, you can set your clock by it. And this is 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, 11 o'clock Eastern Time. It's conversations. I am T. Nathan. So guess what that means? It's conversations with T. Nathan, the show where I talk to myself about issues that facing marginalized communities from a Black perspective. Yeah, that's the conversation. You get to hear the conversation of me going back and forth with myself. LTNS still rocking those Calypso lemonades? Yes. Matter of fact, that was what's in my cup was lemonade, and I am out of lemonade. Yes. Greetings, Robert. How I catch a stray bullet? How you catch a stray? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, nephews catch strays sometimes. It's just a stray. You brought it on yourself. I always want to point out that I'm late to my own show. You brought it on yourself. That wasn't even a stray. That was intentional. That wasn't intentional. What's up? I saw your video, my attorney. Yeah, my attorney, not an attorney. My attorney. I saw your video, and I must say, that's why you're my lawyer. I like it that you were talking about being a public defender and people and losing a case. Yeah, yeah, that's why. That's why. Yep. Yeah. What's up, Rain? What's up, Jessica Girl? Yeah, welcome. Y'all know what time it is. Now, listen, y'all are not going to distract me tonight because I'm watching a zombie movie with or without you all. So we're going to get through this and then we're going to watch a zombie movie. I was going to try to get through it early, but I can't talk about Katrina and get through it early at the same time. Plus, I want to talk about the masculinity, the masculinity of defined by your testosterone and the party you belong to. I think this is funny, and I think it is hilarious coming from Charlie Clerk. So Charlie Clerk says there's a direct tie between your masculinity or your testosterone and your party. And don't believe me. Do you see that? It's shiny. Shiny, what you say? Yeah, no commentary. Yeah, y'all can get over yourselves. Y'all know that's not gonna happen. But I'm gonna try to get through the opening here real quick so we can get to the other side of what I want to talk about, right? But I couldn't. I couldn't. I was like, I'm not going to do anything on the show tonight about anything except Katrina. And then this came up. So I want you to listen to this. And I want to talk about confirmational biases also, but that probably have to wait because people are circulating this video. I probably won't wait either. We're probably gonna do confirmational bias. If you let me do this, I can get it done in 10, 20 minutes.
The
Let's get it.
lower testosterone, the more compliant you are. And there's a lot of reasons why testosterone rates are going down. Microplastics is probably the biggest. Our diet is crummy. And so the more that we are seeing the Democrats pander, they're actually fighting biology Democrats are not going to be able to win over high testosterone men because they're too self-directed. Here's the study. Testosterone eliminates strategic pro-social behavior through impacting choice consistency in healthy males.
God is
Said
on
differently,
time.
quote, we show that exogenous testosterone fully eliminated strategic, feigned pro-sociality and thus decreased submission to audience expectations. Said differently, the lower your testosterone is, the more, of course, the more likely you are going to be subservient and compliant. Our republic needs alpha men.
I know. I'm sorry. If I had to see it, then you all had to see it too. Yes, I am. I apologize. I apologize. It is my fault. But I was like, if I have to see it, you all had to see that also. And Charlie Clerk is saying, listen, it's doubly funny, right? Number one, this whole alpha male myth that has been disproven time and time again. But then to embrace it, and you have Charlie Clerk sitting there talking about, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But the idea that Charlie Clerk is telling people about what makes a man masculine on testosterone production is really rich to me. Yeah, he said, and said alpha men. It says, yeah, basically in that little chart, he talking about you're most likely um conservative men and MAGA supporters have more testosterone than progressive liberal men. And I was like, Charlie Clerk, I will knock you out on the way. I will knock you out on the way to knocking out some men. Charlie Clerk is like an appetizer to maleness, right? I said it. I said it. And yeah, he's just so funny. He puts me in the same mind of listening to um someone what is like Rob Smith talking about men back and men have left the Democratic Party and went to the Republican Party, and I'd be like, "Are you sure this the road you want to go down?" And if you don't know Rob Smith is this veteran black man who was at a Turning Point USA conference. He's openly gay, and they hit him with double slurs. They hit him with double slurs at the Turning Point USA conference. Yeah, and he didn't swing no blows. He- uh, YK, what's crazy about them saying alpha? Yes, natural wolf pack don't operate that way. Right. And we have proven that. We have had the whole disproving of this idea of alpha males, right? Because I don't care what you call it. You call it what you want to, right? Run across the right one. Yeah. I don't even know what the definition of alpha male is anymore. Because when I hear Charlie Clerk talking about it, it's like even the myth. I know. I should be ashamed of myself right now, right? But I'm not. Charlie Clerk said that with a straight face, and I couldn't help but laugh. I couldn't help but um. Now we're here tonight. I want to talk about confirmational bias. How much time I got? I have to get it done in like 2 minutes. I don't even think the video I want to show is about 2 minutes. But let me ask this: Are we watching? Are you all gonna join me in watching 28 years later tonight? Because I'm gonna watch it regardless. I'm watching 28 weeks later. Now, if you all are prone to get sleepy, you know, because you don't have enough testosterone production. But if you're prone to get sleepy, then I will try to keep it so, for you older people that get sleepy after 10 o'clock. I'll try to make this quick. Good thing you didn't read my comment. Oh, go find her comment. Did he say alpha male? Yes. Yes, he did. They don't like losing either, but blackmail is a motivation. Uh, oh, y'all sleeping now? I don't care. Okay. I guess y'all won't be joining. Since y'all won't be joining me and watching 28 years later anyway, I might as well go ahead and talk about confirmational bias then before we get there. But I really want to get into. I really want to have a longer conversation about confirmational bias. But yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I'm sorry. Y'all know me. I got to do it now. We know the definition of confirmational bias. Confirmational bias is when you seek something to prove a point you present, even in the face of a lot of other things disproving that. Case in point, I want to play this video for you all. Right? I want to play this video for you, and I would like, and I need you all to hold anything you believe until we come back and talk about this video. All right? No knee-jerk reactions. I want you to put all your confirmational thoughts of bias up because there will be tests. There'll be a pop quiz before we get to what you think and why for this video.
So what's up with you? What's your name?
Anand, can I see your ID or something?
No, I mean, you can call the police, or I can call the police. Can I see your ID?
Yeah,
Let me see your ID.
yeah.
Can I
Take out your ID and I'll take out my ID.
Let me take out your ID, and I'm gonna take out my ID.
Okay, let's. Can you get my phone? No. Let's call the police. Give me your phone. Let's call the police.
I'm in my own neighborhood where I live at, working in my neighborhood by my house, and I have this man asking me, do I live here?
Yes,
And what's your name?
dude.
I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start a civil lawsuit right now. That's what I'm gonna do.
Absolutely, you gotta do it, man. But I want.
What's
to
your
know-
name, man? Because I'm walking the neighborhood where I live at, and I'm getting harassed.
No, wait. He's unnecessarily playing us.
But we took my car for Topical.
Yes, bring my phone. I don't have my phone. Get my phone.
Come with me and get the
I
phone.
will get
Please.
my phone because this guy will escape otherwise. Get my phone. Get my phone.
Come with me.
Yes, get my phone now, please.
You see this man
Yeah,
right
let's
here?
call the cop.
I'm gonna keep him a distance back. He's steady walking up on me like this. Y'all see this?
Yep. I know that this is not your house.
This not my house, but I live in this neighborhood. You don't got it. Listen, I don't
No,
want
you don't live in this neighborhood.
You don't know where I live at, sir. You can't not tell me where I live at, and I'm not gonna pull out my ID and show you where I live at. I know you
But
live
this
right
is-
here,
this is a
and I live
neighborhood that
and I
is
live in this
not
neighborhood. You
responsible.
have a blessed day, sir.
No, you.
You have a
Wait,
blessed
you
day,
wait
sir.
here. I'm calling the cops.
You have a blessed day,
You
sir.
wait here, boy.
You have a
You wait here.
a blessed day,
You
sir.
wait here. I'm
have a
calling
blessed
the
day.
cop. You wait here. I'm calling the cop. Wait here. If you live in this neighborhood, wait.
Yo.
If you live in this
Bro, don't
neighborhood,
touch me,
wait.
bro. Don't touch. Yo, who the fuck is you talking to like that? Don't raise your voice at me like that, boy.
Wait here.
I'm a grown ass man. What is you doing?
This is a protected neighborhood and you're not supposed to be in here.
Yo, what's your name, yo? He's steady walking up on me, yo. He's steady walking up on me.
Get my phone. I'm calling the cops.
Yeah, I'm calling the cops right now.
Please do. Now.
Don't walk up on me no more, bro.
Don't. Please do.
Yo. Don't walk up on me no more.
Yeah.
Your ass going to jail, boss.
Oh, yeah. I want to see who goes to jail tonight.
Bro, don't keep walking up behind me.
Okay, are you ready for the questions? The first question is, where is this? Wherebird, you might be late here, but so before this is the video that people are passing around, except news stations. This is the video people are passing around, and I found where the original came from. So before you all go, where is this happening at? And tell me if you say Texas, if you say anywhere, tell me where in the video do you get that from? What in this video gives you any idea of the location of where this happened at? So where did this happen at? Yeah, you said Texas. What in this video made you say Texas? I want land. I don't want to conjecture. I don't want you guessing. I want to know if you heard anything in this video that tell you where this incident took place at. Did you hear anything in this video that tell you where this video took place at? I understand that, but my question is, did anything in this video, y'all make it hard to have a lesson, teachable lesson when you won't even stop. Anything in this video tells you where this happened. The license plate, what you saw the license plate, and so you're saying that all So we're saying that all videos, if you see a license plate, that tells you where the video is because nobody goes anywhere else. All right? Yeah. I know what you're talking about. We'll go. Hold on, y'all. Boom, 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 boom.
You
But
live
this
right
is
here,
this is a
and I live
neighborhood that
and I
is,
live in this
no
neighborhood. You have a
trespassing.
blessed day, sir.
No, you
You have a
wait,
blessed
you
day,
wait
sir.
here. I'm calling the cops.
Yeah, you have a blessed day,
You
sir.
wait here, boy.
You have a
You wait here.
you have a blessed day,
You
That's
sir.
wait
the
here.
boy
You have
I'm
part.
a
calling the
blessed day.
cop. You wait here. I'm calling the cop. Wait here. Wait here.
Wait
If
here,
you live
wait
in this
here.
neighborhood, wait.
Yo.
If you live in this
Bro, don't
neighborhood,
touch me,
wait.
bro. Don't touch. Yo, who the fuck is you talking to like that? Don't raise your voice at me like that,
Wait.
boy.
Wait here.
I'm a grown ass man. What is you doing?
This is a protected neighborhood, and you're not supposed to be in here.
Yo, what's your name, yo? He steady walking up on me, yo. He steady walking up on me.
Get my phone. I'm calling the cops.
Yeah, I'm calling the cops right now.
Please do now.
Don't walk up on me no more, bro.
Don't. Please do.
Yo, don't walk up on me no more.
All right. Where did you see the? And I'll go back and freeze it because I can do this.
I'm calling the cops.
Yeah, I'm calling the cops right now.
Please do now.
Don't walk up on me no more, bro.
Don't. Please do.
Yo, don't walk up on me no more.
All right, let's go back. What in this video tells you that you think where you know where location is? Not me trying to pause it myself. Don't everybody come at you at once. No, it's not. It's not about coming for you. It's about the fact that this video is being circulated right now. This video is being circulated and it's being used in a manner that I'm not even sure it's indicative of. This is all the video. This is all the video. And what we have here is this man telling this individual that, do you live in this neighborhood? But is anybody noticing how it hits all the stereotypical buttons? Even real videos don't hit every stereotypical. You said about the boy. You caught that, right? That's part about him calling him a boy. You caught the part, but did you catch the part where he says, bring my he was asking for ID and he said, bring my phone, we're calling the police. Did this not sound contrived to anybody except me? Did it sound contrived at all to anybody? I heard them both say, no location in the US could be anywhere. Could be anywhere. That's one. But did it sound contrived, or did it just fit your stereotypical, or did it fit your implicit bias of the moments of the temperature in this country at the moment that tries to sow division between black and brown? No, it's not AI. It is everything in here is not AI. Oh, my nephew on his changed account. Y'all follow my nephew, artist Leha. All right, too much of a perfect storm. Now, I've seen this video, and the reason I asked this is because I saw people sharing this video, and people sent it to me and asked me what I think. And number one, I didn't think anything because I don't know what the situation was, and it was egregious too much on the attitude we had, and then to say that what happened, this is the case. And I say this. This is why I say implicit biases are very because I see people using this to propel a narrative. Only thing that fits this narrative in this video is that we know this man right here is of some kind of um, sub Asian continent descent, Indian, Pakistani. I don't know, but they were calling him Indian, and I was wondering like, where did you get that from? Just by looking at him, right? Because he looks like a lot of men from that region. That can include India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, all these regions, but they specifically called him Indian. And I was like, okay, why did you say that? Why did you say that? Because if you've traveled the world or met people, you would know that's like saying, you could say, you know, you're from Ghana as opposed to Nigeria, just because but I don't expect everybody to understand that because everybody doesn't say that all brown people look like they're from the same place like they say all black people are black. But anyway, I digress. But I'm just saying, there's too many questions left by this video that people are trying to fit a narrative. And that's why I asked you about the location to start off with, because I see people sharing this video, and I'm wondering, like, y'all all sharing the same video. How do you all come up with so many different locations for where this happened at? They probably assumed he was a doctor or something. So, listen, Rain, that's another assumption I saw in some better. People like, this doctor, and like was one video said, this doctor from India doesn't believe black man belongs in his Texas neighborhood. Doctor, and another one they said happened in Florida. They had even one I saw where it was like talking about upstate New York, and I say I doubted it was upstate New York because of the weather, and I don't have a time period anything on this video. And I said complicit biases because the people that were attacking this video were bringing their own implicit biases to the stage. And that's why I said I can't find enough information on this video to confirm. And plus, the site I found the original video on, there are a lot of videos on that site that I know for facts are not real or not authentic. They were staged. Or they had people, they would have one person in front of the camera doing something, and they would have somebody off camera saying something about what they were doing. But my thing is, I listened to the difference in sound, background sound, in the person that was talking in front of the camera as opposed to the person that was talking behind the camera. And the background sounds were not the same. And this was on the page I found the original video. And if you look at it, if you go to it, it's Rex, it's REX, attacks, and it's ATTAXK, and it's full of sarcasm and videos. I tried to trace it down with not a news organization. They just share videos for followers. No, Wherever, I think I'm missing my point. I don't know. Y'all keep guessing about things that are not in evidence. Where's my lawyer? Maybe I'm not doing a good enough job because I'm not cussing. But that's my whole point. You don't know where it's at. And to share videos and to share this kind of information when you have not verified it is part of the problem. That's my goddamn point. There we go. Maybe now you understand my point. That's my point. I started this goddamn section off talking about implicit bias and confirmational bias and how people are using this as a confirmational bias instead of doing the research saying that where did it happen, who is this, and what was the outcome. Because I'm gonna tell you something that people not gonna like this. I'm gonna tell you something. I I saw this video, I listened to it objectively, and I also watched patterns in the video. And it led me to two observations. Either this was staged, or if you were standing your ground because you lived there, why are you leaving? I would have called the police. Yeah, I would have been fine with you calling the police because that would have been a truly viral video when the police showed up and you proved that you lived exactly where you said you lived at. That would have been a whole nother viral moment. And that would have been more profitable in the coming. Can we stop guessing what state is? I ask the same question to myself. Right. You just jump on the racial profile and whack it and talking. And that's it. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the talk. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want you all to get. Because there's so many videos that I do videos on talking about how they're fake or staged and why. I just conjecturize. People will send me videos because they always fit the same mold. And there's like police body cam videos. There's this whole YouTube channel set up to where they produce fake body cam footage that shows racially charged situations. Um, because that's how they profit. They're profiting off of the racially charged implicit biases that people bring to videos in the first place. They had this one, I don't know if y'all remember the one I talked about. The judge was in the car and the police pulls her over, and I was like, the judge gets out, she has a robe. I'm like, what judge drives around in their robe? Make it make sense. What judge have you ever seen drive around in their robe and they just get out the car in their robe? Yeah, no, no, not at all. Or the one with the lawyer, the black woman lawyer, in putting using a dumpster outside her building, and I was like, I felt like Hella, and and the movie, the Thor movie Ragnarok, when she walked by the Infinity Gauntlet, pushed it down, and said fake, because they always fake, because they always go too far, always go over the top. So that's my little lecture. Some entity is trying to sow division, right? Disturb, and it's not even that they're even doing it. They just keep planning it. There are lots of things that are real. Don't get me wrong, but I just look at the fact that, so I guess what irritates me is that people are profiting off of us trying to actually fix something because they profit more off of creating dissension. And I'm convinced also that most of the time there was a whole ass racist video I saw. People circulating everything. When I dug down to it, I realized that that's nowhere in the United States. It looks like, and I'm gonna tell you what gave it away. The cars. The cars gave it away because you might have one or two cars in the United States where people have imported and they haven't gotten switched over to the driving pattern, the side of the car you're supposed to drive on. But you look at the cars and you realize people are driving on the wrong or sitting in the wrong side of their car. Pass this off as happening in the United States, and it was staged outside of the United States, and people were running with it because people they have to prove their complicit biases, especially when it comes to brown and black people and the need to sow division between us. So I always question things like that. So this one, I didn't even get paid for this one. Nobody asked me, but I saw it. It just made me mad. So I'm still digging. If I find out anything contrary to what I've always stated, I will come back. But yeah, this video had too many red flags and too many off actions for me. I've seen enough videos where we have had these confrontations in real life, and none of them hits every stereotype. The boy was a little over the top for me. The boy was a little over the top for me. But you're walking away from where you say you stay, because the man was gonna call the police. I thought that whole interaction didn't fit. And then you left your home, crossed your street, and you didn't have your phone, and your wife is standing there with a phone in her hand, and you don't just go get it and call the police. It's just too many questions for me. All right, so that's my thing about implicit bias for tonight, because I see a lot of it taking place, and I'll be like, yeah, that's fine. Now, this is the first time I've seen this. Thank you for it. I'm just saying, um, yeah, I'm just saying that we just need to be careful. We need to be careful because I find a lot of people are interested in having viral videos. And even when they do find something wrong, they never go back and straighten it, or the um, apology is never as popular as the viral moment. And people don't take down the videos because they get paid. I guess because I'm not in the creator fund. Even if I was in the creator fund, that's probably why I don't last long. Because if I put something out there and it was wrong, I would come back and straighten it. And once I referred to the video for a little while, I would take it down. I would take it down. That's why you see I don't really have to take videos down because I do my research on videos and instances before I post them. I might not be first. That's what people ask me. Sometimes they ask me like what I feel about something. And I say, I don't know if what I feel is related to what truly happened. So I do the research. Like I don't care about the Gene ad, so don't ask me. I don't care about the American Eagle ad. Don't ask me. All I saw was a flat ass white woman in some ugly ass jeans, both ways. Some jeans, and her jeans wasn't that wasn't that impressive to me, right? 'Cause, it's what it is. Um, thought the jeans were so ugly. I wasn't impressed by. I've never been impressed by somebody that probably could snap like a twig in my arms. It just doesn't impress me. But did I think it was anything special? No. Am I gonna hold a 24-hour think piece on it on my social media? No, no, because I want to talk about Hurricane Katrina on the 20th anniversary. All right,
Communities, homes, and lives all along the Gulf Coast have been shattered and destroyed.
The mayor of New Orleans said that hundreds, perhaps even thousands of people in the city are dead. Bodies are being left floating in the floodwaters. The emphasis is all on rescuing the stranded.
We're told that about 100,000 people are still in this city with no way to get out,
leaving residents to hold up desperate messages for whoever might be watching from above.
20 years ago.
After all the panicking in the attic, we found an old cell phone that's still.
And yes, the 20th anniversary of Katrina's coming up. For those of you all who haven't been with us the last two nights of this of our documentary series, as we look back on Katrina 20 years later, if you know, August 29th, 2005, Katrina came ashore in New Orleans as a Category 3 storm, and the devastation that occurred to it. And tonight, I just wanted to correct. This is the third night. We have two more nights. We're going to do Monday and Tuesday. We're going to carry this over into August. Because the misinformation is still rampant about the situation. And as we watch climate change affects us in the way that it is, I don't think we've learned the lessons that we should have learned from Katrina. And we're so interested in placing blame that we're not saying, well, how do we adjust going forward? And until we understand that climate change is going to disproportionately affect the poor, marginalized communities, and coastal cities around the world, then we are not addressing the issue. The rich are always able to move. The poor and the disenfranchised are the ones whose story I really like this documentary about, because you get to hear from them. You get to hear their story and their words. And I think that's it. Sorry, guys, man. I'm still sorry, yeah, I know you've been absent, but I just wanted to catch everybody up if you haven't been here, what we're doing. No problem. I understand life happens. Sometimes I'm not even in my own lives. But yeah, just want to catch you all up on what happened. This is night 3. And yeah, y'all, I didn't get no answer on my zombies because I am watching 28 years later tonight after this on Twitch. So don't tell me to play it later.
Had some power. I was like, oh my God. So I called 911. They said, we're going to send someone over to rescue you guys. And maybe about 5 hours after that, a boat came.
to the interstate, offload, and I come right back. Won't take me long.
So he drove us toward Interstate 10. And on the way to the bridge, there was a baby, hair freshly combed, that was in the water. And she was deceased, but I so wanted to get this baby out the water. And I told the guy that was driving the boat, I said, there's a baby right there. So let me get the baby and I'll take her to someone on the bridge and maybe we can find out who her parents is. You know, he said, that baby's gone. She's deceased. And I was like, anyway, just let me get her, out the water and I'll take her to the bridge and maybe, the ambulance or something up there is waiting and they can take her and they can identify her. And he took a stick or some kind of board he had in the boat and he pushed the baby away. He was like, ma'am, we're worried about the living, not the dead right now. We have to
No,
We
I
have
mean,
to
listen, listen. I know it's a,
get the living.
and I know it's a gut reaction. I know it's a gut reaction to think that was inhumane, but it was, and that's what's so hard about leadership sometimes. He had to do that. He couldn't risk her getting contacting this the baby in this water that's full of disease. The baby's gone, and I know, but it was the idea that they had to focus on the living, and he had to get them on. If they, I know, I mean, I know people hear that and they think, "Oh, that's horrible. Why did he do that?" But if they would have went around, I don't think you all understand how many corpses were floating in the water after Katrina, and children, dead children. Yes, it's the truth. That's why I want you all to hear this. I wanted you all to hear this in their words, right? Because unless you in that area during that time, like some of us were, you don't understand. And it's like it sounds so inhumane, but I can't tell you other stories then because if that one disturbed you, there's stories of truly what we did that will really disturb. Um, yeah, and animals. And animals and pets and all. There were people. That's another thing. There were people that their pets were dead or dying, and they wanted to take them with them. And I understand that. They had the pet. This one lady, she had a pet cat wrapped in the bag, and she was like, "I just want to take it with me." It's like, where you're going to a shelter? You can't take a dead animal in the shelter. You bet. I know you can't take a dead animal in the shelter.
Wednesday was already becoming a particularly bad day. Our first responders were exhausted from dealing with one crisis after another, and by that point, FEMA had a full 24 hours to take action on that list of our needs. But there was still no cavalry, no help. And so we felt as if FEMA was maybe not the right organization for what we were dealing with throughout the city of New Orleans, because we knew that the deterioration was quickly getting worse and people needed to get out.
How many people have ever been on I-10 in a southern state? Has anybody ever traveled I-10 through a major city like New Orleans? Have you ever? So you know that was I-10. So Gracie, you see that was I-10. That was I-10 that they were in the middle of, walking down the streets of. And you know how wide I-10 is at the junction in the New Orleans area and in large cities. And this I-10 is full of people, of people. And these people, I-10 is high ground. I-10 is high ground. I think I showed you the pictures of the water and how the overpass, and they're stranded on I-10 or they're staying. Most of the time when we deal with those who have to be homeless, and it's another thing people didn't think about evacuating, but they sleep under overpasses. It was just the irony of watching people sleep on the overpass. They didn't have a home to go to.
Day.
Take that in. Take that in. This is 24, this is about 18, 24 hours after the storm hit. And the people they're rescuing, they're bringing to the worst place that should have never been a shelter in a storm. So the people that were already in the Superdome, the number doubles doing rescue. The Superdome has already had water in it, the sewage is not working, there's no electricity, and they keep putting people in the Superdome.
Superdome, which was the shelter of last resort, has become the last place anyone wants to be.
Inside, the toilets and air conditioning are broken.
She just passed out, good.
And I could tell this story without, everything they're going to talk about in certain locations, I already know. I already know, even if I would never seen it, I already know because this is what we live. And this was all on the coast and to New Orleans. And like I say, we went into New Orleans after being on the coast. We were on the coast because that's where I live. It's about 45 minutes away from there. Getting that straight, and then it was like, well, we need to go to New Orleans and see what we can do. And we found, and this is what I'm talking about. So this is on the ground experience. What we're talking. We took them, and I hate boats. I hate boats. I mean, I utilize them, but I hate boats. But we were like, oh, let's go north because we had really heard nothing from our friends and families that lived in New Orleans. We had seen the news, and then he's like, yeah, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. But we had friends and families there, and we had not heard from them.
They got disease in there. They got dead bodies. The bathrooms, we haven't used it since like Tuesday. And then when you have to really use it, you have to use it almost anywhere.
Sometimes we living like pigs. Pigs. Shoot this bathroom right here.
This is inside the Superdome, right? This is inside. This is inside of the Superdome. I don't know how that. This is inside of the Superdome, and I'm gonna tell you a secret. The floors were not brown at that time.
It was unbearable. So a lot of us started going around gate to gate and talking to the different National Guard members and, trying to see if they'll let us.
And that's another thing. They would bring you in, but now you're trapped. When they talk about the violence that happened in the Superdome, that's because you kept stuffing people in there and not letting people out. National Guard set up a perimeter, and once they took you in, this was a self-contained prison. Now, do you all want to talk about that? That's another thing a lot of people don't. They always talk about, oh, I'll put people in there. People are in there just being violent. Like it's violent in the shelter. It's hot, low water, low food, tensions are high. What did you expect? And then you wouldn't let people leave? And that's why some people were that's why some people hid out in these areas instead of be rescued because they had heard what was going on at the Superdome when they were taken.
out. And they would say, well, go down to that gate, and he wouldn't let us out. We'll go down to the next gate, they wouldn't let us out. We'll go to another gate, they wouldn't let us out. But then all of a sudden, somebody that was with my group just started shaking the gate like, yeah, man, let us out here. We getting, such and such and this. And he just started saying a whole bunch of stuff. And that's when the National Guard pulled the M16 out. And he said, y'all better go down that way.
Go, go, go.
It's kind of like they didn't really work with us. They was rotating different groups of National Guard members, but nobody still would say who was in charge.
In a disaster, the First Army collaborates with the National Guard. But Louisiana was not my assigned area when Katrina hit. The general that was actually in charge of Louisiana, he was still at his headquarters in San Antonio. So when he told the Pentagon I was in Mississippi, they said, get that general in New Orleans. And that's how I ended up designated by the president to be the commander of Joint Task Force Katrina, which put me in charge of coordinating the response with FEMA. When I arrived at the Superdome, it was like thousands of eyes who were looking at me. And my first thought is, we got to get these people out of here.
So General Honore comes in where the mayor and I were.
Come on in, General.
How you doing?
Hanging in there.
Listen. If General Honore would have been a Louisiana resident and a resident of New Orleans, he would have been the next mayor of New Orleans if he would have wanted the position, because it took this man, and like I say, not being icon, but this is the change that is about to come from the National Guard.
How are you?
We had FEMA, the city, and emergency personnel represented, and everyone is sharing with him what we need. But the FEMA representative interjects to say, we can't do this, we will do that, this we have to do by the book, we're going to do that, but it takes time. General Honoré at this point had had enough, and he says, excuse me, FEMA, before you speak, you need some fucking success.
So I said, all right, what is the priority? The mayor said, we need to get food and water, we need to save these people. Okay? And we got to evacuate the city. Same thought I had.
By this point, we had already asked federal and state officials for buses to transport people out of the city. They knew buses were one of our top priorities. So we expected that the buses would be arriving later that day.
So after that meeting with the mayor, I said, well, I need to go check in with the governor in Baton Rouge because they had trouble talking to each other. Not only politically, but the lines were down.
There is no comms. And since the loudspeaker system didn't work, I walked around the 30,000 people in the Superdome to let them know we're working on it. I think it's going to be buses, and we're going to bring, I don't know how it's all going to work, but buses are coming.
It did uplift our spirits. And so I was watching people settle beefs and shaking hands, you know what I mean? The place started getting real trashy. So a lot of the teenagers, they started coming together and they started cleaning up.
There was a young man pushing around one of those hotel luggage carts with a person laying on it. And he said, hey, this lady just passed out. What do you want me to do with her? And she was okay, but and she was conscious, but she was clearly overheated. And I said, can you roll her to the medical center? It's right down there. And so he took it, and he came back about 10 minutes later. He's like, you want me to keep doing this if I see stuff or I need people? And I was like, please do. He loved that he had a role. The risk of allowing that young man to help push people to the medical arena was this much. The impact of other people seeing how he was helping was colossal.
If I count around for service, please do so. We'll start in a couple of minutes. I count on around.
The national.
Now, when you all sit around here and talk about how we don't care about each other or what we didn't do after Hurricane Katrina, I want you to start kicking yourselves in the ass, right? It was people out there that didn't have a home trying to make sure people were still all right. Because I get, like last night I talked about the rescue workers that came in, they did a damn good job. Not have anything bad to say about them. But they couldn't have rescued a fourth of the people in New Orleans that were stranded without the help of those who were able-bodied and made makeshift boats. They had this one guy. He was out on a large door. He had a door he was rowing on and rescuing people and bringing them to shallow water. And this wasn't a military man. He was just a concerned member of the community. And that's what I don't want to fall between the cracks. Because we always talk about, well, FEMA, yeah, FEMA didn't do their job, but the people of New Orleans and the surrounding areas did.
God chaplain who would talk to us and he'll say, what are your concerns right now? What are you thinking? And people just, would say, my loved ones.
I know, your loved ones. Look, one of the things we want to focus in on is, as bad as it is, we can rebuild a house. I have no home to go to either. Everything I have has been destroyed. I'm wearing what I have. So we're all in the same boat. But you know what? All of my family is okay. And that is important. And that's why we need to pray. But yeah.
New Orleans is a city that prays. And I thought he did a great job, and he as a man of God, stood up there and he spoke to us and he made us feel better.
Even though we are uncomfortable, we give thanks that God sent this angel down to comfort us.
A lot of people started feeling like, you know, now we chosen at this point in time.
Amen.
We in this thing together. And before we get it even worse, we're gonna get out of here.
I've called for the president. I'm expecting him to call me back anytime soon, but I've asked the president to give us all the resource possible today. We need his help today. Time is of the essence. It's critical that we move quickly and begin to stabilize our situation.
We are live on top of the Causeway Bridge over Interstate 10, where the scene behind me here is just unbelievable. It is a massive refugee camp filled with thousands and thousands of people waiting for a ride out of the city. They have been rescued from...
We went up onto the Interstate Bridge on Wednesday. My sister and the people we were with decided we were going to go as far down as we could go. So we walked miles away from my house, hoping to cross into Algiers because it wasn't wet over on the West Bank. We got to where we could look at the Superdome, and the National Guard was driving past us. And it became very apparent that they weren't going to worry about us until the last minute. It was really stressful because there were a lot of seniors and kids, and we were almost in 100-degree temperatures on concrete. But there was no access to water. That's the thing that really gets me, because you can survive without food for a couple of days, but you have to have the water.
You got a governor. What the fuck is they doing? Look at the people right here, bro. This ain't no game, this is serious, bro. People's life is on stake.
So it was unbearable. But then we noticed that some guys went down under the bridge to the Kentwood Water Company, and they took trucks and they came up on the bridge with water.
I don't even need to say it, do I? We don't even need to say it, do we? Okay.
And this is the part that I was amazed at. When they started distributing, the only thing they said was, drink it, don't waste it, because we don't know how long this will last or how long it'll be before we get out. So that's when I started noticing that you have to be very careful about media and what you read and what you see.
I've watched all day long the stories of the people who are causing trouble, who are, screaming and yelling about things and just being thugs.
These are supposed to be the thugs that they talk about. They were the ones who went to the Circle Food store, which is about a half a mile from where we were, to get us dry food, dry clothing, because they had a clothing store inside of there too.
You're not supposed to do that.
I know we don't, but if we're barefoot and we're walking in the water, our feet is going to get cut.
Most of the network's live setups weren't in those areas that were heavily flooded. They were generally in downtown, tethered on Canal Street, broadcasting live from satellite trucks. So if there's a shooting on Canal Street and there's looting, you just got to turn the camera there. That's easy sleazy.
Hey, come back from over there.
And you're done, and that can lead your broadcast.
The unrest is so bad that his boss ordered him to leave the city. He said the looting was starting to get so out of control, our general manager is fearing for our lives.
As if emptying the store shelves wasn't enough, some decided to go one step further and take the shelves themselves.
They're so busy with hauling out big racks full of food, they're not concerned about anybody else. They're just, they're...
Everybody for themselves.
Everybody for themselves.
I remember seeing that Bella, you all right? I remember seeing her on television saying that, right? Like, we wasn't taking food to people who were hungry. Like everybody for like we were eating all the food by ourselves. And I was like, I just like I said, it's easy. It's easy to turn the camera and say looting and it was like and it was going watching to some people that the so-called police was stopping from taking food and they would just take the food and just throw it in the water. You know, this was food that was not going to be saved by sitting in a shelf. It was sitting in this place. Yes. The truck was fun. The truck was yes. And it was like the very people that people were talking about being thugs or being um allegedly, well, it's been 20 years. Fuck it. Yeah. But the things we were doing and they were telling us that we were the problem. But you see, that's why I've been talking to you all about how in the community that the people you call thugs and the drug dealers, they're the ones going out taking the chances to bring stuff back to the community. When I saw these people just on the bridge, on a bridge above water, with no water, no food.
I was dismayed watching the news. The
About 10 more minutes on GCPR, Jay.
way they depicted black folks who were living in New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina. It's like they didn't see us as regular people, law-abiding, church.
That's another thing, right? And they always talk about televisions, and nobody was stealing televisions. Grocery stores and drug stores, yes, but nobody, not just everybody wasn't just, oh, this is where the fuck did they think we were taking TVs to? Where did they think we were taking TVs to? That's what I be wanting to know. Where do you think? Where do you think we were taking? Where were we plugging the TVs up at? I just it was it didn't make any sense, right? When you hear and like years later, you hear these things, you be like, you all heard this and thought it made sense. And in a place with no power, they were just massively taking televisions to what the store. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure there were people that you could get to see a TV or two. Most people were liberating water and food. Food was going to spoil anyway.
Going, hardworking people.
It's just hard to believe this is reality. And people living in these conditions turn to, in some cases, turn to animals.
It's much more difficult to get the full story and not just the headline. My news director always said, people come first, property comes second. And that's what we kept the focus on.
We starving out here. Look, we ain't got nothing over. We can't get no food cooked, you hear me? So we had to go break in with this and do what we had to do.
Look, you had some stupid stuff that was going on. But the majority of this community was not people in chaos wanting to go out and just loot everything. There was people trying to survive as things got worse all over the city.
So I flew to Baton Rouge, saw Governor Blanco, and she said, we've asked FEMA for buses. We don't know when they're going to come, General. But I'd appreciate it if you do what you can to help New Orleans get evacuated. I said, I got it, ma'am. Shortly after that, I got a note that the FEMA director, Michael Brown, wanted to see me.
General Honore has been working incredibly closely with FEMA and doing all the civil support stuff that we've asked him to do.
So I went to his office. He was in a big fancy mobile command headquarters in Baton Rouge. And he said, that's your desk right there. I want you right next to me. I said, I don't think so. I said, I'll put somebody in that desk, but the problem's in New Orleans. I can't solve it here. And he insisted. So we have to have unity of command. I said, well, we can have that, but it won't be me. I've seen the eyes of those people in New Orleans. That's where I need to be. So I left.
If Honore,
The situation in the Superdome was getting worse.
just we're gonna stop right there for sign off. GCPR. Thank you for joining us. If you would like to hear the rest of this, we will be covering it Monday and Tuesday. Join us then. Sign off GCPR because I don't want it's DJ's night and I'm already 5 minutes over. So GCPR, thank you. We'll see you. That's what I was wondering. What did GCPR? I got the wrong remote on. All right, I'll see you all Monday. Same Wakanda station, same time. Peace. All right, Jay, I'm clear on GCPR. So this is where we are. We're gonna. Do you want me to stop here and we'll go watch the movie, or do you all want to finish this issue and then watch the movie? You want to finish this episode, or do you all want to go start the movie? Let you all decide, because we're going to finish. Well, if we do that, we're going to watch this and part 4 on Monday. You want to finish this part? All right, let's finish this part. You ain't got to tell me twice. I love commentary.
Worse and worse and worse. So I sent a lot more emails to FEMA headquarters to alert them just how bad it was. Wednesday, August 31st, an email to Mike Brown. Sir, I know that you know the situation is past critical. Here are some things you might not know. Hotels are kicking people out. Thousands gathering in the streets, hundreds still being rescued from homes. The dying patients at the Disaster Medical Assistance Team tent are being medevaced. Estimates are that many will die within hours. Plans developing for dome evacuation, but hotel situation is adding to the problem. Phone connectivity is impossible. More later.
The tone of the entire building changed dramatically. And I found myself wondering, how many unanswered questions is this group of people who are here, how much longer can they take this environment that we're asking them just to hang in there with us? Hang in there, hang in there, hang in there. And I felt that, boy, if we make one false promise, we would lose their trust. Like if I say to them, buses are going to be there today, and then the buses don't come, I think it'll all tip over. I felt that. So it was very, very important to me that I didn't overcommit or overpromise anything, because again, it was a razor thin level of trust between me and probably thousands of people who I talk to every day.
From where we was at on the bridge, all the people that were looking for somewhere to go, they were saying, don't go by the Superdome because, the Superdome trashed out, there's nowhere to go in there. So they was like, well, go to the convention center because that's where, that's where the shelter's supposed to be and that's where the bus is supposed to pick people up. My main focus was to get the kids to safety. And the little bitty babies, they can't really walk. So I had one baby and my brother had the other baby and we got the other 2 little children and we walked for miles.
Because of the conditions in the Superdome and the Interstate 10 bridge, we started hearing that people were now spilling over into the convention center. So we just worked straight through. I don't remember sleeping much at all.
For days now, people have been rationing what little food and water they have, waiting for help. They say they feel like they've been abandoned by humanity. What's it been like here?
It's been like hell. It's been like hell. We have people here, sick people, haven't had medicine in 4 days.
We just worried about medication for my mom because she's almost out of insulin. My sister is going through a sickle cell attack right now. We're trying to see what we can do to get some IV fluids to her. We're trying to keep the babies hydrated.
And my little baby getting sick. He just keep crying and diarrhea. He don't have no more milk or nothing.
I've been crying for 2 days, and I try not to let him see me cry.
And this is the point, and it's at this point that a couple of drugstores got broken into. Drugstores got broken into. May or may not have been necessary that some people were for some reason trying to protect the grocery store. I mean the drugstores might have gotten no one died, but they should have stayed out the way. Yeah, we wasn't raiding drugstores, hypothetically speaking, stealing drugs to use. That was so crazy when I heard that. It's like, oh, people broke into the drugstore and to get their drug fix. I'm gonna tell you something you might not know. There was plenty of illicit drugs in safes that were not wet, if you know what I mean. But I'm sorry, we didn't stock penicillin. And the thing about the penicillin and the other drugs that were in the refrigeration units, diabetes drugs, we had to put them on ice. So we might have stolen whole ice machines from from hotels. So what? But this is why. I want you all to understand that. This is why. So a lot of the narratives that about people what happened are false. Like I said, we can talk about the narrative. I want to talk about the narrative of the people, what they did, and what people that they called thugs did. We're not, nobody was raiding the drugstore looking for codeine. No, we were looking for almost like taking orders. Like, what do you need? I remember when we moved to the convention center because first, hypothetically, we tried to break people out of the Superdome, but it was like, where they gonna go? We went to the convention center because it was drier and bathrooms worked at the convention center initially because they hadn't been used, but they got overran too. But there were babies like this there, and they needed formula and stuff that people didn't think about. Drugstores had it, even if you had to take your boat. I hate boats. By the way, Cash App's still up. We're raising money for the meal for those not be homeless. Next week, I will be in Topeka protest tomorrow. Um, Maybe you get some video. I don't know. I've never been to Topeka to protest before, so I don't know how I'll be handling it. It's at the state capitol. So usually when I go to state capitals, first time I get in trouble. So I don't have bail money because I don't know. I don't know what it is. We don't have bail money, so I can't. I can only. If you don't see me Monday, you know where I'm at. But we'll be there. And we will be supplies for those who happen to be homeless and supplies for back to school for children. Um, some that are homeless, some that are in my tutoring class that need supplies also. So if you would like to help with that, yeah, this is a cash app. Any donation, $1, 5, anything you would like to donate is greatly appreciated. Too.
What do you do as a reporter? Like, people are asking you for water, and like I had a few bottles and I gave it away, but like I can't help them. And that was a sobering time for me because I realized that all the stuff that I wanted to do as a reporter, like let's get the story, let's get great pictures, like at that point none of that mattered. When you're dealing with people's lives, like they want to let their family know that they're alive.
My grandma, one of y'all, if y'all out there, you heard me, and y'all hear your son, just let me know y'all living, you heard me? Cause I ain't seen y'all since Katrina hit, and I really missing y'all, you feel me? And I'm hurting. See this body right here? That woman been dead since Tuesday.
There's 6 bodies upstairs on the 3rd floor, and another lady laying on the floor by the lady's bathroom dead. It's just terrible. It's an awful situation to have to live in.
We went inside the convention center, and the only way that I can describe it, and I don't want to get into detail, is that it is the smell of human suffering.
I couldn't stand the smell that's on myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm nasty, my shoes wet, everything wet. I don't have nothing. I felt embarrassed, you know, like I couldn't talk to nobody. And even though, you know, all the people out there, they was in the same predicament. So, you know, we all was like, you know, people who used to having stuff and having things and taking care of themselves, and they couldn't, you know, they felt the same way. I was totally like out of myself already. I just felt like I was just gonna pass out and die at any time. But also, the kids didn't have no more food, and they was dehydrated, you know, their lips was turning white. So through the shame and embarrassment and the guilt, the only thing I could do is just use the little strength I got to try to get these children some help. So when the media came out there with their cameras and all that, you know, I had my 2 little babies in my hand, and I just went to hollering on the camera.
We didn't have no water. We didn't have no food. We don't have nothing here. Our children been out here for our children been out here for days. They don't have nothing to eat. We don't have no cold water. Come back and get no ice. We got babies that's hungry. Send people to get the folks out of here, folks.
We hungry, we starving, we need help. We need medical attention. They got old people that's sick. They got people
I felt
dying.
neglected. I felt like the city that we masked in all these years and paraded in with the second lines and, you know, worked in and built these regular houses and, you know, that they just let us down. Like, at this time, to them, it was like we wasn't even human no more.
People still in New Orleans, if they looked to the sky, saw Air Force One. The president flying over for a personal look at the devastation. His plane was low, just over the city skyline.
I basically told him we had an incredible crisis here and that his flying over in Air Force One does not do it justice. And I am very frustrated because we are not able to marshal resources.
A lot of people suffered, and a lot of people suffered needlessly. If we had had the leader of the free world show up in New Orleans on Monday, instead of just flying over the city 2 days after the storm, we would have had a much different situation after Katrina.
Powerful country as we are, and we can't take care of these people. They out here all this time, doesn't make sense. And I'm pissed.
When I joined the police department, my aspirations were high. Then in 2002, I became superintendent of police. And in that position, I wanted to be always accessible to the media. And from a communication standpoint, the mayor told me any kind of cover-up wouldn't be tolerated. That stuck in my mind. I think I overthought it. I didn't want to hide anything from the people. And I was so dead set on not covering anything up that things that were reported to me, I reported them quickly without getting verification, the way it would have been under normal circumstances. So when my tactical guys said that a sniper was shooting at our officers, I reported that sniper was shooting at police officers.
Listen to this.
And my captain and I was spotting for the snipers. We went from rescue to tactical almost instantaneous. They were shooting at us in a helicopter. They were shooting at my SWAT team. I mean, it was crazy.
Well, that whole thing of people shooting at helicopters
was a lie.
Is a reflection that people watch too much TV. They thought if they shot up, the helicopter would hear them or see them and come get them. I spoke to the police chief and I said, Chief, where'd you get this notion that there's snipers in the city? He said, I was in a helicopter, General, and they shot at us. Did they hit the helicopter, Chief? No. I said, why did you use the word sniper?
Maybe from the military, the jargon and parlance for a sniper is different than the jargon and the parlance that we use. But when an unidentified person that we can't spot randomly shoots at police officers, in my opinion, that was a sniper. Maybe I shouldn't have used those words. In hindsight, I guess I shouldn't have used those words. It was getting reported over and over again, and it took a life of its own.
Now, do you understand? It's like, you understand, right? And it was interesting because I was talking about confirmational biases at the beginning. And this is the confirmational bias you brought to people, but thinking somebody was trying to shoot down a helicopter that was trying to rescue them instead of trying to get the attention that they needed. And this was the story. Like I say, this is the story that broke out. No one ever snipe. People are shooting at rescue workers. What?
About the sniper fire. They're actually taking sniper fire as they're trying to evacuate patients. I was there just about an hour and a half, 2 hours after that, looking at that same area. In fact, I didn't see any snipers myself.
Big searchlights looking all around to make sure that there were no snipers that were going to attack us.
Things became so much more difficult for us to do because of this fear. As simple as, where's the truck that's bringing all the new food? And the National Guard would go out and we'd find the truck that had been abandoned by the delivery driver who was told there were snipers all around the Superdome that were shooting and killing all the delivery drivers, and all of that completely made up, but just made our jobs infinitely worse and more difficult.
I over-reported things I should have verified, and I'm sorry I did that.
Sir, a lot of respect to you tonight for what you have been going through, seeing your men and women go through so much.
When Katrina came, there was no school you could go to deal with the worldwide media on a 24/7 basis. I was working off of 1.5 to 2 hours sleep a day. I wasn't eating well. I had migraine headaches almost the entire time. And I had gotten to the point where I was around the media so much, and there's so many cameras pointed on me, I actually forgot the cameras were around me. With communications being fragmented, some people were getting reports that a young lady was raped. And it was in proximity to me where my daughter was at. So by the time it got to me, it went from a young lady being raped to my daughter was raped. And when I thought my daughter was raped, it tore me up.
I need somebody to get me a cruise boat or some type of boat, a cruise ship, or some kind of ship, so I can put my people in some comfort, so I can help the people. We have people in this police boat who have lost their families and they have not gotten out of this fight. I didn't know where my daughters were at for 2 days and we endured. I'm so tired of this, but it's finally almost over. That's it. I don't talk no more.
During Katrina, the first responders were also victims. Their homes are gone. Their families were moving from place to place to try to survive. So when your first responders are also victims, it changed the character of the response.
I made tremendous sacrifices during Katrina. My family wanted me to stop being a chief and go get my elderly aunt and uncle. Unfortunately, my aunt and uncle died. And it haunts me every day that I could have saved them and I didn't. So people that was not privy to the circumstances at ground zero where I was at for the entire time, they had no idea of the challenges that we faced. All they saw was a microcosm of what the media wanted them to see.
We are live in front of the convention center, which has not been emptied of people at all. Chief, what do you figure? How many people here?
We have at least 30,000 people here, Raul.
30,000?
At least 30,000.
And none have been taken out?
None have been taken out. The buses were promised. The buses are not here. They built these people's spirits up. We need to get these people out of here now.
So, unfortunately, we discovered that while FEMA put in requests for buses, whatever reason that didn't get moving as fast as it should have. So people are going to have to stay there another day.
We knew that these people were getting to a desperate place in terms of their ability to withstand the environments that they were in. And we were really worried whether we could survive another day like this Wednesday.
Good afternoon, everyone. I first want to express my thanks to President Bush for the confidence that he has shown in me. I also want to speak to the civil unrest and some of the disturbances that we have seen. It's just not acceptable.
Shut the fuck
and
up.
I understand that the National Guard, troops,
Shut the fuck up,
local
Mike.
law enforcement, all of those will do everything in their power to minimize that.
We had National Guard elements from every state come here in Louisiana. And some people who deployed to Louisiana had already been to Iraq. And now sprinkle on that, you know, all those rumors of lawlessness and snipers and shootings and all of that. It was like, oh, we're gonna need weapons. So as the Deputy Public Affairs Officer, I was really just trying to stomp out a lot of the myths that were becoming so problematic because they're just creating fear.
After I came back from Baton Rouge, I had to see the mayor and they said, let's walk through the crowd at the Superdome. My National Guard buddies told me, said, well, we need more guards for protection. I said, no, we don't need any more guards. We're all right. So I had two of them with me. I said, put your guns on your back. Don't be pointing guns at nobody. That's when people noticed me and they noticed my name and they would say, hey, brah, you gonna get us out of here? I said, yeah, we're gonna get you out of here.
So how do you recommend we handle this?
I think we try to get a public message out on the radio.
Okay.
And you tell the governor the buses need to be there early in the morning. We need her to get on the television and tell people.
I saw the mayor and discussed the evacuation plan for the next day that was being coordinated with staff down in Baton Rouge and with FEMA Director Brown.
In all sincerity, my heart goes out to those people, and I am determined, absolutely determined,
I just don't know how much I hate
to speed this thing
Michael
up, make
Brown.
this thing work, and get the aid to those people.
Bullshit.
You all don't know how much I hate Michael Brown. You just do not know how much. This man was responsible for every piece of misinformation that people built their hopes on over a 5-day period in New Orleans. Even in the face of people telling him, we're not sure, I'm in the buses. And I remember I tell you about the road. Y'all haven't even addressed the fact that the roads are still flooded. You haven't addressed the fact that where the bus is coming from. But you're telling people buses are coming. And you're trying to lock us up for helping.
Later that day, I called Administrator Brown and they said he's not available. I said, well, where is he?
So Cindy Taylor, who worked in the Office of External Affairs, received an email from Sharon Worthy, who was the handler for Undersecretary Brown. It is very important that time is allowed for Mr. Brown to eat dinner. Given that Baton Rouge is back to normal, restaurants are getting busy. He needs much more than 20 or 30 minutes. We now have traffic to encounter to get to and from a location of his choice, followed by wait service from the restaurant staff, eating, etc. Thank you. And so Cindy Taylor then forwarded that email from Sharon Worthy to me, and she said, let me preface by saying, I know he needs downtime, but, how much time do each of you need for dinner, including travel time to the restaurants of your choice? Question mark.
I'm trying to coordinate where the buses are so I can answer the mayor's questions and deal with the press. But 72 miles away in Baton Rouge, this son of a bitch is waiting in lines to go in a restaurant. I mean, there was some stupid shit happening. Just plain stupid.
So after I got that email, I immediately responded to Cindy, oh my God, with 8 exclamation points. I just ate an MRE and crapped in the hallway of the Superdome along with 30,000 other close friends. So I understand her concern about busy restaurants.
Do you understand? Listen. This, and I don't think, this is I don't think people understand. This is the director of FEMA, and this is his response. This is his actual response. And this is the thing. We knew. It's like if y'all were to know why do I develop Why am I the way I am when I do certain things or talk or expectations of the system? The system has been failing us because people like Michael Brown are allowed to be mediocre and white and fall up. And to fall up. And that's why I tell you, we have been having to make a way. Like I say, I appreciate any help people give, but I don't even go into this expecting people to help because our history has shown this. This is what our history has shown. This is the age I come up. This is who I come. This is what made me when I realized that I have to teach people to save themselves because help is not coming.
Maybe tonight I will have time to move the pebbles on the parking garage floor so they don't stab me in the back while I try to sleep. But instead I will hope her wait at Ruth's Chris is short.
Listen, I remember Michael Brown gave an interview talking about we're gonna have to do this while I have dinner because I gotta eat. I remember him giving an interview about people in New Orleans and what they were going through while he was having dinner in Baton Rouge.
This email exchange was really starting to show the disconnect, the tone deafness. I just don't think they understood my urgency.
At the Superdome,
don't get me started on Trent
almost
Live.
everything that needed any kind of satellite or a tower still didn't work. But what did work, and we became aware, was that a lot of people had brought radios to the Superdome. And that was how they were getting their news, which was problematic because there was a lot of mistruths and a lot of the exaggerated stories were being perpetuated by the radio.
The situation is getting really chaotic. There's fights breaking out.
There's a lot of murders has occurred, rapes. Look, you name it.
All of a sudden, walking around, we heard that some little girls was raped and killed in the bathroom.
No, the chick said a woman.
There was a little girl. There was a little girl.
It's still here?
A little girl, they said. I don't know where it happened.
We got in the bathroom.
Yeah, they said there was a little girl in the bathroom they killed and raped her or something. I just heard the same thing.
That's what I said. I know what it is. No, we can't go there.
I really was looking for somebody to be screaming at the top of their lungs, murder, somebody did this, but I never seen anybody come forward. And it's fascinating because some people ask me, did I have video on that? I was like, are you serious? Like, I would have video on somebody getting raped and killed for real.
We had already heard from the security team inside the Superdome about what was actually transpiring. So we knew that that wasn't actually the case.
But still, the rumor took a hold, then it started spreading like wildfire.
You see how people be raped in here? People be killed here?
I mean, a lot of people, rape, all type of violence.
You don't know who's here. You got people that's druggies, you got people that's raping and doing everything they can, doing breaking in and looting and everything. You understand?
The media was irritating.
You're not allowed.
They just wanted to be in everybody's face and getting all these interviews, and they wanted people to be scared. I would get people who would call me and they would ask me to confirm facts, and then I would say, well, that's not the facts at all. And they would write their story anyway. And it could not have spun more out of control.
At the Superdome, there have been rapes, a murder, and various shootings.
There was a lot of misinformation all over the place. And it wasn't just the media, it was within our organization.
What one of the police officers told me was it is a war zone out there. People are fighting. He said in his words, people are losing their minds.
Some things were completely exaggerated. Some things were completely made up. Some things were said that just literally did not happen. And you had all of this going on in the middle of a disaster.
There was chaos. There was no communication, but I saw cops on the street firing back at thugs that were on rooftops, etc. I've never seen the breakdown of American society like this, but there's certainly
the media wanted to lead the American people to focus on chaos. Yeah, that's what happened in a disaster. If you don't have chaos, then it's not a fucking disaster. It's an inconvenience. But there are people who wanted to exacerbate it as a crime problem in the city of New Orleans. It wasn't a crime problem. It was an evacuation problem.
It is now shortly before dawn, about 5:30 in the morning. For the last 4 hours, we have seen no buses here. Meanwhile, the size of the crowd has been growing, and so has its level of frustration.
We've been out here since 9 o'clock yesterday morning, just like this.
It's about 6 in the morning, listening to the news. A lot of people lost everything, man. Getting their last sleep and to find out if they could go home.
By this time, we were supposed to be out of here. But they never had anybody to say that they was about to evacuate the Superdome. So I was like, oh man, I just don't believe some of this. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Eventually it's getting worse, so we have to move these families out of here. But from you, I would like to know, are there buses coming for these people to get out?
They keep saying that, but who can believe them anymore?
Exactly.
I tell these people, believe what you see, not what you hear.
People in the Superdome, what is the plan for them?
They are going to start to be moved right after we get all the medical patients out. We're going to move them. They're our first priority. Then after that, we will have 350 buses that are staged, and they're going to start to move people out of the Superdome.
The buses started to show up, and we came up with a route that would bring them in and a way to walk the people out to the buses. And at the air medevac site of the Superdome, I had them knock down the power poles so we could bring large helicopters in and take out the elderly. Everything seemed to be going well, but then a call came over the radio that a pilot reported being shot at. When that went out, all the helicopters en route, diverted. And that just turned this situation on its head.
Desperate situation in the city of New Orleans as we speak. The effort to move those evacuees from the Superdome to the Astrodome now halted after shots were fired.
Rescue helicopters came under fire and violence spilled out into the streets right outside.
The largest ambulance service says it will have to severely cut back its rescue efforts if security doesn't improve.
We were told that the buses were stopped because things inside the city of New Orleans were so dangerous.
The drivers of those buses and ambulances, they've said, I'm not going in there. I've told my wife, I'm not going in there. There's still a sense this is a riot zone, and it's not.
It was just a story that got out of hand. And eventually, people tried to draw us into being more focused on security than we are on the mission of saving lives.
Some of the things like security, you look at and you think the time has come to empower our law enforcement officials, our military officials, to say, let's adopt a zero tolerance attitude. Let's take these people off the street so they can't be causing this danger.
When we realized that the looting was getting out of control, we redirected all of our police officers back to patrolling the streets. They were dead tired from saving people, but we redirected all of our resources.
All of a sudden, I just got inundated with people coming to me. They were confused. They said, Chief, are they going to evacuate us? Or we got to go? Who's going to feed us?
We were asking the Louisiana authorities to hunt down those looters. They must make sure those rapists, looters, and assailants get what they deserve.
With the exposure to the national media, All of a sudden now, at police headquarters, the message was to stop the looting. That was the message. And what came next was a complete mess.
And that's where we're going to stop at for the weekend to Monday. But I have pictures and I have to find them. This was of course from 2005, but I have pictures that I would like to I would share with some of the homes that we went to and how the flooding was and how the water was. And I was looking for them where I was going, but I'm trying to figure out where I saved them to. 'Cause I thought they were in my cloud. I'm sure they are. They're in my cloud, but I got to find out which cloud they're in. But yeah, I have pictures from that. I have pictures from that time period. Going going out Fox News. Listen, not just Fox. Every major news network covered the story the same way. The same way. I mean, I remember looking back now and looking at some of the news stories when we were situated, and I was like, wow, they had a massive hurricane somewhere else besides another New Orleans also. And I remember just to listen to the way people were talking about it. People are literally trying to live, survive. I mean, no one, okay, maybe one person, but maybe one person protecting a drugstore, and even they didn't get it like we could. I mean, we just say, hey, this is hypothetically going to happen, and just we'll hold you here, but we're going to get the things we need for the people that are held up, because in the difference in the Superdome and the convention center was that the Superdome was a prison. It was like they had imprisoned, and people were, we still escape. We have people escape, because the one thing I will say, the National Guard was tired too. They were tired too, and they were like, I know they're supposed to be patrolling, but they'd be like, shit, I'm tired. And there would be times when people would, but in my personal experience, and I can't speak to everybody else's, but in my personal experience, it was one of the least violent times in New Orleans history for people. They were just trying to survive. You had people just helping. Like I say, they tell the story, and it makes me mad now because now we're telling the story that the people you all called thugs were one of the people that were doing the work to help people survive. You tell it now, but it would have helped to tell it then. It would have helped to tell it then. You imagine. This is we're going to get to the period of time where, and I had to watch it to see if there was any video and who. I think there's video, but I was younger. I looked much different. I didn't have the beard. I had a beard, but it wasn't real. But and that's what I'm looking at pictures. But there were you have to you're trying to help people and avoid the police at the same time. You're trying to do this, and you're trying to do, and this is a boat. And let me tell you, this is the most time I've ridden a boat in the Gulf in my life, because we were also going back and forth. Going back from New Orleans to Mississippi, and the fastest way to go was by boat. Then it got problematic when they started saying people were shooting at helicopters, then instead of saying that they're shooting up in the air trying to get people's attention. So it gets problematic. So now they're accusing people to come into New Orleans to loot New Orleans. So now we're also not just going by boat, we're going by some of the most obscure routes, and I'm fine with snakes. I don't mind snakes, but it was just it was a lot going on. It's like it's nice to see the story being told for a change from the perspective of people that actually they needed a scapegoat. They did. They needed a scapegoat, and in all honesty, they found one. All right. Hold on just a minute. I'm gonna sign out of